Tonight, cracks on the labor front. Trades Union Congress declares it cannot back the indefinite nationwide strike called by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, which is crippling government business across the country.
I cannot confirm supporting or not supporting because I've not even gotten the details of the reasons why they are on strike. I will have to liaise with their leadership, and if need be for us to support, we will. Because if you touch one worker, you have touched all workers.
We have details as government summons CLOGSAG for an urgent meeting as confusion erupts on CLOGSAG's own front, with some members defying the strike directive.
If you come, you will see a lot of people coming in and going up and down. But looking at the situation now, it's just dull. Everything is standstill. So no one in the office. Right now I'm talking to you.
We have details here on Top Story. Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and call. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Fostina Sarfo. Please stay for details. Tonight, there are cracks on the labor front. The Trades Union Congress has just declared it cannot back the indefinite nationwide strike called by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association just yet, which is crippling government business across the country. Government is now calling a high-level meeting with leaders of the association as the strike begins to disrupt public administration, leaving many Ghanaians struggling to access key government services. The industrial action is in protest against what CLOGSAG describes as persistent delays in implementing its agreed conditions of service. The association insists the strike follows several unsuccessful attempts to engage government on the matter. This is despite an order from the National Labour Commission directing CLOGSAG to suspend the strike and return to the negotiation table. However, the association has instructed members nationwide to disregard the directive and proceed with the action. Across the country, the strike is already biting hard, with many unable to access essential government services. But we'll be listening to our colleagues on the ground. They have actually been visiting most of the offices that would normally be in operation because CLOGSAG members are now on an indefinite strike, and so they are unavailable to access services. We will be touching base with them shortly. We understand that the Trades Union Congress says it is unsure why CLOGSAG is on strike. The General Secretary of TUC, Joshua Ansah, says they were not even informed about the strike. He spoke to my colleague, Rafiq Salam.
Now, as for strike, I don't want to talk about strike for now because strikes come with a reason. No worker will just wake up one day and say, I'm going on strike without any reason. If a worker says he's on strike, then there's something chasing that worker from somewhere. We need a solution.
So, you are coming from the TUC?
I'm coming from the TUC, the umbrella body. And I think that I want to tell all workers that it's not as easy and as joyous as people feel, but I think that with resilience and dedication to work, we will overcome all the challenges, if not all.
So this current strike you supported?
Which one?
The current strike by CLOGSAG you supported?
I cannot confirm supporting or not supporting because I've not even gotten the details of the reasons why they are on strike. I will have to liaise with their leadership, and if need be for us to support, we will. Because if you touch one worker, you have touched all workers.
Well, you had there the General Secretary of TUC, Joshua Ansah, just engaging my colleague Rafik Salam. Now, here in the Greater Accra region, many offices have been shut, with many people unable to access some of the offices. My colleague Stephen Mensah has been on the ground engaging some of the individuals who came to access services and are stranded. He joins us live with more. Stephen, you're on the ground. What can you report?
Well, Fostina, it's a bit of compliance and defiance from most of the offices and institutions we visited. We visited the Ministry of Waste and Housing and Water Resources, the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment, and the Passport Office also would visit the Registrar General's Department. What we noticed at the Ministry of Waste and Housing and Water Resources will be that there's no one present. What you notice will be just the security personnel present on site at the ministry. However, at the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment, what you notice will be that the staff are present. However, there's no work being done. And what we would understand will be they were given the information on Thursday that there's a strike going to happen today. So they are present, but there's no work being done. However, at the Passport Office, there's work ongoing. We understand the director was present and was on site in her office and was engaging in the normal business, day-to-day activities ongoing at the Passport Office. And they say they've not been given any information as to whether a strike is happening or not. So they are going about their normal businesses. However, at the Registrar General's Department, you see people stranded. And for all people who come to the Registrar General's Department, they are turned away because they say they're on a strike. However, it's pretty interesting because at the Registrar General's Department, you notice that the office of the Registrar of Companies is also present at the Registrar General's Department. So you see people there. However, if you are going to visit the Registrar General's Department, there's no way you are going to be served. You'll be turned away.
And I know that you've also been doing some checks, Stephen. I know that there is currently a meeting ongoing between members of CLOGSAG and government. You're also keeping your eyes on that. What do we know?
Currently, they're in a meeting currently. We understand it's CLOGSAG and some executives from government also. However, we are here to get details as to what the communication will be as to whether or not the strike will be suspended for now, or whether there will be an amicable solution to the strike from both ends.
And this meeting is happening where exactly?
It's happening at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission's office in Labone.
I see. Thank you, Stephen. Well, we'll be going back to you when we have updates on that. Let's take you now to the Ashanti region, where offices are also closed. My colleague Clinton Yeboah has been doing some checks at the offices. He joins us live with more. Clinton, how are things at the various offices you visited?
Mama, I must say the strike is in full effect in the Ashanti region. I have visited municipal assemblies and some ministries and departments under CLOGSAG, and all of them seem to be engaged fully in the strike, particularly in the municipalities that I visited, especially Asukwa municipality. The offices were closed. In fact, not a single staff or government worker was around. I met just one person who says he's a driver of the director, and when the director leaves, he would have no choice but to close down the office. In fact, when we got there, right from the entrance, we were met with absence of workers. There were no workers there, and of course, it looks like people have already gotten the intel that this is the situation, and we stood there for some time. We didn't find anyone coming to seek services. However, when we went to the Oforiko municipality, the situation was different because we met some staff there who say they were unaware of the strike action, and because of that, they had come. But upon receiving the information that they're on strike, they have decided to close down the office. Although they are around, they are not attended to persons who have come to seek for services. And so essential services such as client service, even the birth and death registry of the municipalities have been closed down. And one symbolic indicative symbol that you could see when you go to the municipality are red banners. They have fixed red banners on their on the offices. And so before you get to the premises of the municipality, you sense that there is something wrong.
Let's listen to some of the individuals you spoke to.
Condition of service. Nti wo ba won say the ready abobo ayina no kwan ni nyina no. Nti national anya ofurukro municipal assembly nko.
Ken, what he's saying is that the Ofurkrum is also observing the strike action, and it's no different from what we have seen in other municipalities. In fact, earlier when we were at the Asukwa municipality, the place was deserted. In fact, there was no staff was around. We didn't even see the receptionist.
A normal day in Asukwa municipal assembly, if you come, you will see a lot of people coming in and going up and down. But looking at the situation now, it's just dull. Everything is standstill. So no one in the office. Right now I'm talking to you. Like I was saying, maybe one of two of them, Thursday when we were going home, they may forget to, let's say, arrange their fast. And they came in to arrange the fast and go home. Even some of them have come in early dawn and they left. So that is how it is going on right now. So nothing is going on in the assembly as we are talking.
When you say nothing is going on, what exactly is that? The offices are closed, no services are being
Yeah, the offices are closed and no services is going on. Even some of them, 2 or 3 people came when I was sitting here and they asked me that they need assistance from environmental. I asked them that none of them has come to work. They are all at home because of the strike. So no one is there to assist them.
You heard some individuals my colleague Clinton Yeba was speaking to in the Ashanti region. And if we still have Clinton with us, you've also been engaging some staff. They showed up at work. What exactly was the explanation?
Well, they say that they were not aware of the strike action and they didn't anticipate that it would take full effect. And that was the reason they came to work today. However, learning of the new updates and the directive from their executives, they decided to also lay down their tools. And so they are at the offices, but they are not working. They will not attend to you. When you come, they will turn you away. And they say that they are firmly in support of the strike action and also the directions that have come from the executive that their conditions of service, which they have agreed with the government, must be implemented as soon as possible. And they would solemnly back the executives in this strike action.
You're still listening to Top Story. Let me bring in now Fostina Sarfo, is a labor expert. I also have Frank Asedi-Bekwe. He is Deputy Ranking Member on Employment, Labor and Relations Committee in Parliament. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. I would like to get confirmation as to who I lost. But then I would like to start with Fostina Sarfo. He's a labor expert. This is the first time we're hearing that TUC is telling us that they cannot back an industrial action called for by CLOGSAG. You've been in the system for a while. You've even been in NLC before. Let us understand and appreciate the issues better.
Yes. Did you say TUC is saying they are unable to support the strike?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. I'm hoping you can hear me. Yes, I did. Indeed, I said.
Yes,
I said that.
but in any case, this is a strike being declared by one union. And CLOGSAG is not part of TUC. So TUC can decide to declare a solidarity support for them if they buy into what they are doing. But if not, there's no compelling effect. And of course, it doesn't mean anything to the strike that is going on. They have tabled their grievances and they have declared to declare a strike on that. So all that you have to do is to make sure that the strike is situated lawfully within the governing laws, that is the Labor Act. Yeah, spells out the declaration of strike, how to go about it and so on. But as for the support from TUC, Federation of Labor, or any other body, that does not really affect it.
But you agree that it is strange, really, that TUC, Mother Buddy, says they're not even aware of this industrial action by CLOGSAG?
Yeah, that is possible. You know, in the declaration of a strike, what the law requires is that a party declaring the strike, that is even the employees, you have to notify your employers and then notify the National Labour Commission. There is no compelling law, statute, or convention which says that you should go and inform another union like TUC, Federation of Labour, or any other. So if they are saying they are not aware, it doesn't really mean anything. Unless if the two unions had agreed to fight a common cause, then one decides to take to strike while the other wants to negotiate or go for arbitration, then that is where they can claim that they don't have knowledge and they are surprised because after all, they were fighting the same cause. But what CLOGSAG is fighting now is not within what TUC or TUC is not part of their demands. They are fighting for the implementation of the conditions of service agreed upon between them and their employers. That is the civil service and the local government service. And that is not TUC. They are a different body altogether.
And then I'm just wondering, this dispute, we can trace it back to 2019. And it was supposed to take effect on the 1st of January 2025. Because you have served in LLC before, is there a reason why this administration may be struggling to, implement this MOU?
Oh, yes. It is possible that it involves money. You see, they agreed upon it in 2019, like you said. Why has it not been, implemented all this while? It is because the government has at all times pleaded with them, day in, day out, declaration, threat of strike, one after the other, to postpone the implementation because it involves money. And of course, huge money. That is why, so the government, we have problems. We haven't got enough resources. And we are aware of, the current economic situation of the country. So I don't think that it's not surprising that the government has not implemented.
Well, so stay with me, and that's a question we're asking this tonight on Top Story. If government has signed two different MOUs with CLOGSAG, why go ahead and append your signature on a contract that you lack the financial muscle to implement? We'll get back to you, but let me bring in Frank Asiedu. I'm told I have him now. He's Deputy Ranking Member of Employment and Labour Relations and Pension Committee in Parliament. We appreciate your time here on Top Story. We're just hearing from TUC tell us that they are unaware of this CLOGSAG declared strike. I'd like to start with your initial reactions to that. Mr. Frank, can you hear me? Okay, it appears I don't have Mr. Frank's attention, but let me go back to Fostina Sarfo, who is still with us, and I'm hoping I have his attention. I was just finding out why government will indeed go ahead to sign two different MOUs with the labor unions, knowing fully well that they lack the financial muscle to implement it.
You see, the government will not sign an agreement when they are aware or they fully know that they are unable to implement it because they don't have the financial muscle. They must have signed it in anticipation, right, of some revenue inflows within a period which we have filled. But I don't think that the minister or anybody acting on behalf of government would deliberately commit a government to what it cannot do. No. So I'm sure that at the time of signing, they may have been expecting some inflows or some windfall somewhere, or an increase in productivity or a discovery of more oil or anything to cushion, the government's finances to be enabled them to implement it, which may not have been realized. Yes, we know of at least the cocoa industry is an example. The prices were fixed last year. And along the line, the fluctuation and other things that have happened, they have to reduce the price on the world market, the dollar's performance, the securities. So a lot of things happen. But I'm not sure that at the time of the government signing the MOU with the CLOGSAG, they knew that they would not be able to do it and they signed it. No.
Okay. Mr. Ofosus, please stay with me. Let me bring in Frank Asedu. He's Deputy Ranking Member on Employment and Labour Relation and Pension Committee in Parliament. We appreciate your time here on Top Story. You warned government about this some weeks back. You warned that government should implement the conditions of service. Government failed, and now we have this on our hands. I'd like to start with your initial reaction. Mr. Frank, do I have your attention? Okay, it appears we don't have clear connection to Frank Asiedu. We'll still work the lines and try and get his attention. Whilst we're still at that, let me just give you a little background. This has been brewing, I told you, for a while now. It has been brewing as far back as 2019, and CLOGSAG has signed 2 different MOUs with government. Michael Ashali, you've been monitoring the whole CLOGSAG labor front issues, and their concerns is about neglect from government. They've been pushing this for years now. Government give assurances all the time and yet fail. For our audience wondering why we're here, give us a background.
So, firstly, we know that as far back as 2019, that was when this renegotiation of their conditions of service, together with some other MOUs that they signed with government. I mean, some insider information that I have is that baseline is that there's some disparities with some of the salaries that some people collect, although they are all collectively part of CLOGSAG, right? And in government, you also have this tiered remuneration scale. But it appears that depending on the department that you are paid either more or less. That if you belong to, quote unquote, a prestigious or a well-endowed financially institution, you'll be paid accordingly. But if you have the same grade or same qualification at the same level within the government sector, but you work in, say, a less endowed or financially prudent company, then you are more likely to be paid less. So you'd say have your colleague in another department who is paid more than you, and possibly that is one of the rifts that we're hoping to change with this MOU starting from 2025. So from 2019, this conversation has been going on, and then they finally managed to get government to sit and agree. It was supposed to take effect from the 1st of January 2025, but that did not happen. Because the current government, when they came, one of the things we know what they said was that, well, I need more time to look at some of these agreements before I can commit money to it, right? It's been 1 year since government asked for that moratorium, and we are still down the line. More than a year now, 3 more months after 1 year, and then they've still not been able to do this. What we know currently is that there's a crucial meeting that was called by the Employment Ministry, and they are hoping to convince CLOGSAG to call off this strike. What exactly will be said in this meeting, I'm not sure exactly, but we know that there's an impact across the country where people are struggling to access common government services. It's one of the things I'm sure the Employment Ministry will be hoping to truncate from this meeting this evening, Fosti.
And indeed, we just heard from CLOGSAG last week tell us that they had approval from and even assurances from the current Labour Minister, especially during his parliamentary vetting, Michael, if you recall, that he would deal with this matter, especially after he assumes office. Unfortunately, that issue has not been resolved. I still have Frank Asiedu with me, I'm told. Do I have clear connection to him now? Okay. Mr. Frank, we appreciate your time here on Top Story. You're Deputy Ranking Member on the Employment and Labour Committee in Parliament. I'd like to start with your initial reaction. Last week you warned about this. Unfortunately, it's beginning to bite hard.
Hello?
Mr. Frank, I can hear you loud and clear. I'm hoping you can hear me. I'd like to start with your reaction.
Respectfully on what? Because I didn't hear you well.
Okay. We're engaging you because you are deputy ranking on the Employment and Labour Committee. Last week, I recall the minority raised concerns. You were pressing on government to fulfill its commitment and ensure it implements the conditions of service, especially with the salary structure for CLOGSAG members. They have declared an indefinite strike. I'd like to start with your initial reaction.
Good evening, and I equally extend my greetings to the sons and daughters of whom have entrusted in me to go to Parliament and work on their behalf.
we think that unemployment is a national security threat, and issues with labor it should be tackled with sober reflections. Issues with labor should not be politicized. And we think that government should be sincere with the CLOGSAG, so that they can sit down and discuss issues devoid of disrespect and all that. Who admonish government to go by what they had agreed with CLOGSAG, and try as much as possible to meet CLOGSAG where their needs can be met. Because you see, this government is not being sincere with us. And this government tells us that whenever you want to talk about anything, this government says that, dollar is down. But that is not the reality on the ground. The average Ghanaian, the average worker in this country is suffering. And I think that it is high time government stops telling us that the dollar is down. Meanwhile, our purchasing power is dwindling. Look, government increased workers' salary by a paltry 9%. Government has increased electricity tariffs by 28%, water by 15%.
Okay.
So you see, government should come clear. And I'll propose that government should be real. Government should stop the partisan politicking.
Okay.
And meet with CLOGSAG so that this thing can be resolved.
Well, government is meeting with CLOGSAG as we speak. We're told that meeting is ongoing right here in Accra, and we're monitoring that. But let me just wrap up briefly with Cletus Awuni, is regional treasurer for CLOGSAG in the Upper West region. My colleague Rafiq Salam interacted with TUC General Secretary General in that region, and he told us that they're not even aware. So I'd like to start with Cletus briefly. Just tell us why this is even important for you, this industrial action that you embarked on without notifying TUC.
A very good evening to your cherished listeners and then CLOGSAG members across the country. Let me state it clearly that CLOGSAG, we are independent on our own. We are not one of the union or the associations that is under the umbrella of TUC. So when we are embarking on a nationwide strike action, we don't need to notify TUC that we want to go on strike, because we are not under their umbrella, we are on our own. So CLOGSAG is on its own, and it's when the National Executive Council decides on the matter that we should go on strike, then we declare the strike action. We don't have to. We are not under the umbrella of TUC.
And so with this industrial action, are you saying that you will not back down, despite the whole country pleading on you to back down? At least go back to the negotiation table.
Well, I think we would have gotten to this level if government was really serious in discussing and then trying to resolve our concerns. Because we came this far because anytime there is a meeting scheduled to discuss this matter, everybody is reluctant. Government is reluctant to deal with the issue. And we see that it has been from one thing to the other, dodging. They don't want to hold a meeting and other things to engage us. And we are getting serious pressure from our members. We are getting serious pressure from our members. The thing is long overdue. Something that was supposed to take effect January 2025. Look at how far we have gone. And so we are only expecting government to implement what was signed in the MOU.
Okay.
Whatever that we signed in that particular MOU before calling out the strike action in 2024, that is why we want it to be implemented.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Cletus. At this point in time, point well noted, we have to let you go, unfortunately. But we're just receiving information that meeting between CLOGSAG and government has ended inconclusively. Stephen Mensah, you're there for us. What can you report?
Well, the meeting ended not too long ago. What we understand is that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is expected to come back tomorrow and meet with the Civil and Local Government Staff Association on the way forward. The Civil and Local Government Staff, after the meeting today, they indicate that they've spoken to Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and they would want their request be revised and reviewed by government before any decision on whether or not the strike should be halted or postponed is done.
Thank you so much, Stephen Mensah. That's how we wrap up Top Story. Up next is Newsnight.
And tonight,